You've probably gone through some really heavy challenges in that time. You know, life just does that. Life throws stuff at us. Today I wanted to talk about learning to remember how far you've come. Instead of just going from one thing to the next, just understanding that you have been through a long journey in life and you've probably overcome some really hard stuff. And sometimes it's okay to kind of stop and enjoy that and be proud of who you've become amidst so many challenges. I woke up really early today, probably like 4 a.m. Usually when I wake up that early, I just start thinking, my mind starts looping around. And so I was thinking about my life. I was going back through the years and kind of trying to place everything in their correct year. You know, I have a very vivid memory, especially when I was younger. I could remember years very easily. I had this way of visualizing the years and categorizing them so that they were almost like files in my brain. So I had this very strong ability to categorize memories by what year they were. You know, as you get into the adult working world, our days seem to go quicker, the years seem to just fly past. Whereas when you're a kid, the space between 0 years old and 10 feels like a whole lifetime. So I really wanted to categorize, this is what I was thinking at 4 a.m. I just had an inspiring thought that I wanted to start journaling. I have a journal app on my phone. It's called Journey. It's a really good app, by the way. So I can flick through memories of old journal entries and where I was at and what I was talking about and what was going on in my life and different thoughts and ideas that I had. And I can draw from them even for videos like this. I really wanted to categorize the years from 20 years old to 30 years old. I'm now 30. I turned 30 this year. Big milestone. And I really just wanted to understand where I've been on my journey and really pay conscious attention to like how far I've come in that decade. So from 2015 up until now, 2025. I started with 2015 and I was going through, you know, like what was I doing in that year? Who was I hanging out with? What were my key challenges? Back then I was not really into self-help. I was actually more focused on drinking and smoking weed with my friends, which back then was an incredible release. I needed it. I was going through heavy mental health problems and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I had no sense of direction, no sense of purpose. I couldn't see the sense of purpose even in my uni degree, even though now it's really helped me. On paper and, you know, everything that I've learned. Mind you, I have learned way more out in the world practically than I ever did in my university degree. I was going through these years, right? I was going 2015, 2016, 2017, and some of these years were like blank spaces. They were harder for me to pinpoint all these little key things and, you know, key people, key ideas, you know, what was important to me at that time, what was I going through, what did I achieve? And I realized, you know, I was kind of blocking out some of these years because I went through some heavy shit. You know, I was really going through a lot of, come on, and then you guys are going to go in the lounge room. I can't think straight when you bloody well blocking and just talking shit, mate. Stay in here. I'll be back, okay? Entertain yourself. So as I went through these years, you know, as I listed all these things that I was focusing on and all these things that got in my way, or at least I perceived that were in my way, I actually worked out that a lot of what I would consider things that I'm really proud of about myself were actually some of my biggest challenges and how I actually experienced them and moved through them. And I became more of myself because of these experiences. I became stronger. I became more of a man. It's a rite of passage in a way, you know? Some of my heaviest experiences I kind of went through on my own. I'm not saying that I didn't have, I have amazing people, an amazing life, amazing friends and family that have always been there for me, but certain things you just kind of have to go through alone. And when it comes to self-development and heightened awareness and going through a spiritual journey and going through problems with mental health, these are all very personal things, and you can't often translate it to people. People don't really understand, but if they haven't gone through it, and even people that have gone through it, often that it's unique, like your own journey is incredibly unique. And so as I was writing all these key points down, these landmarks for each year, I have learned to appreciate how far I've come and just how strong I've become as a person, how much character I've developed as a man, because I went through so many different things and I tried different things and I failed and I got knocked down and I got back up and I got knocked down and I got back up. And I've just helped so many people. I've worked with so many kids, so many adults. I've worked with the elderly. I've met so many people. I've done traveling. I've met people overseas. I have really adventured in my 20s. And I think that that's what your 20s are for, right? Having a whole bunch of different experiences and gaining experience points. A lot of us want to be at a certain level in our life. Many of us might feel, I wish I had, I thought I'd be further along. I thought I'd be further along by now. I thought that I'd have more money in the bank. I thought that I'd have a house under my name. What I really noticed and what really stood out to me was just how proud I was of the challenges that I moved through, and that these negative things at the time were like really fucking awful, and no, I would not go back there and relive them. They really cultivated me and sharpened me as a person. The key to any wisdom that I have, any kind of knowledge, any kind of ability to guide, ability to kind of illuminate and inspire, it really comes from like actually going through really fucking tough times and coming out the other side, and going through tough times and coming out the other side. And just this process that I've been on, that I think that a lot of people, not everyone might resonate with that process, but that kind of is my life, like it's this kind of, like I resonate with the hero's journey, going down into the deep end and kind of really facing yourself and really kind of facing these deep challenges. And you can only do that by trying new things and adventuring in some way and going out of your comfort zone. And this can be an inner thing as well, by the way. Sometimes going out of your comfort zone is actually just really thinking deeply, really thinking deeply about your life. It's not always like some kind of soul journey where you do a solo travel, somewhere, which that is fucking great, by the way. You should do that if you feel called to. But it really just comes from going deep in some area outside the norm of your life, really looking at things from a different angle, seeing your life from a broader perspective, or going out and finding your adventure, whatever that may be. Have a little think about the past 10 years, or if you can't really categorize years, because it was even tricky for me, some years you lose them, but maybe just think about the past 5 years or 3 years and just think, where was I? What was I doing? Where was I working? Was I in a relationship? Was I single? What's happened since then? How have I changed since then? Have I changed a lot? Have I changed a little? And it's not about being hard on yourself, but it's actually just kind of drawing on the fact that you've probably gone through some really heavy challenges in that time. Life just does that. Life throws stuff at us. And unless you're kind of sitting in a room with the blinds closed and not facing life at all, you're probably going to experience challenges, and you've probably experienced many challenges just in the past year alone. But even a person that sits in their room in the dark with the blinds closed, they're really going to face problems too. So you can't really escape this. This is why, you know, the hero's journey, as I was talking before, I really believe that we each are on our own hero's journey, that we each, you know, it's like our path, our life is ours to live, and it's ours to kind of try and work out and navigate. And that's what the journey is. And we can have teachers and we can have help along the way, but that is part of the hero's journey. In every hero's journey, the hero falls, the hero gets back up again, the hero meets mentors and guides and becomes more of him or herself. You know, it's this story of becoming more of oneself, of becoming stronger, of becoming courageous and admirable as a person. So if you feel inspired to do something similar, you can write down, you know, with a pen. That's a powerful method, or just get a journal app on your phone and just start categorizing some years and think, I was at this job, I was doing this, I was struggling with this. I was really proud of the way I moved through this. I'm really grateful that I achieved this and that this person was in my life when I needed them most. And when you come out the other end, you'll be like, damn, you know, like I have done a lot, you know, and it's okay to kind of sit and kind of appreciate for a second, okay, I've been on a journey, you know, like, and this is the journey, but like a point at which you can stop, rest, meditate, and kind of get off the hamster wheel for just a minute, maybe a day, maybe a week, for as long as you want, and just acknowledge that you've been on a really difficult journey, and you should be proud of yourself. You should really be proud of who you are as a person. You know, odds are if you're watching this video and you watched it this far, you are someone that has been doing the work. It simply wouldn't have found you if you weren't someone that was drawn to my kind of speaking, my kind of content. Many people aren't doing the work, but they are in the same way. Everyone's on their path, everyone's on their hero's journey, but not everyone's ready to heed the call to adventure, okay? Not everyone's ready to wake up. Not everyone's ready to do the really difficult inner work that it takes in order to see more in life, see more in yourself, find a real sense of peace in yourself and clarity, and really embody your masculine or feminine, and find the grace within and the wisdom, the inner wisdom that we all have. It's incredible. It's an incredible journey. It's so challenging. But this has just been a way that I come back to every now and then that has helped me appreciate myself a little more. So maybe you can do the same if you feel called to. If you got something out of this video, I would love if you gave it a like and subscribed, and maybe leave a comment. Let me know about your journey. What have you gone through? What have you had challenges with that you've come out the other side and actually been proud of yourself for doing so? You know, how have you become more of yourself by going through challenges, and instead of labeling them as, oh, that was really bad, I hated that, instead labeling them as, I really grew through that, you know? That was the potting mix that helped me grow. I needed to be like submerged in mud and dirt in order to rise and become, you know, a beautiful plant. Without digressing anymore, thank you for watching. Have a lovely day or night, and I'll see you next time.